High spots and cheap pop. Ladies and gentlemen, Silicon Steve Alley with Vladi, the current Purple Nurple champion. And we're talking in the world of professional wrestling. And right now we're going to be talking about All Elite Wrestling, who's putting on some really good programming the last couple of weeks. Some great things. Lottie-dottie, how you doing? And are you ready to talk about All Elite?
Yeah, I'm doing really great. Thanks again for asking. And yeah, I'm definitely ready to talk about All Elite because now we have a bit of a sample size for like Collision especially, which if you're a wrestling fan, I got it from my perspective, you got to be a pretty happy person at this point. We'll dig a little deeper. I'm sure we'll bring up the numbers and stuff like that too. But overall, like as I'm watching that show, I'm enjoying it. So I'm a fan. I don't know if I'd necessarily go and call myself a collider just yet, but I am definitely ready and cool with watching that show on a weekly basis.
Everywhere is colliding. You don't know that song. Well, I'll tell you what, this might have been my favorite episode of the 30, this past one. It just was well balanced, some really good promos. They're building stories from each and back. You're talking about House of Black and Andrade. That's something that's actually interesting. And you're actually seeing a part of Andrade, what makes him tick, portraying him as a babyface. And I like him in this instance. I really do. Andrade cut a good promo. The thing is, I know I'm in the minority, but I always liked Andrade's promos. I could always understand what he was saying, and I always kind of likened him to the bad guy in Man on Fire by Denzel Washington back in the day, like the cartel kingpin. But Andrade said a real slow, awesome promo. And also, it seems like Malachi Black is building something like they're trying to get him to join House of Black or kind of push him to be even greater than he can be. Then, of course, you'd have CM Punk and Samoa Joe on the top, and really great match with Bullet Club Gold, who have been absolutely brilliant against FTR, actually beating the tag team champions FTR, setting up a 2 out of 3 falls next week. And just a couple of things. Julia Hart had a really nice segment in terms of her character continuing to build, and a few other parts of it. Obviously, Ricky Starks beating Powerhouse Hobbs. You called it. Powerhouse Hobbs now out of QTV. Thank God. And now Powerhouse Hobbs can kind of start that ascension that he once seemingly had, because I think everybody thought the QT Marshall pairing was a disaster.
Oh, it was terrible right from the onset. It was when he won the TNT Championship. So lessened and demeaned Powerhouse Hobbs actually winning it. The guy that quote-unquote breaks backs is then all of a sudden involved in TMZ parodies on a wrestling program that weren't necessarily funny or entertaining, and again, demeaning him. So I'm so happy to see that. That was a plus.
Absolutely. And then, of course, you have Samoa Joe losing to CM Punk after they wrestled, I think, 6 times prior, 4 times prior, maybe 6 times prior, 5 times prior, whatever the case may be. But CM Punk never beating Samoa Joe, and he gets him on a little bit of a roll-up. Well, he was able to roll him up, get a really good pin on Samoa Joe, kind of steal one. And did you think Samoa Joe was going to choke him, was going to attack him after the match?
I had a little bit of feeling. I was hoping he was, like just because, listen, they played off the whole sentimental aspect of it with the Owen Hart chants, which was great from that crowd. They got
which by the way, CM Punk set that crowd to do that up. CM Punk played that crowd like a Stradivarius.
Yeah. And you know what? And he walks out there. He knows, like, all right, 35, 40, maybe 40, 50% of the people hate me here. But the other half kind of like me. And he's playing both ends against the middle.
And honestly, it sounded like he was a lot more popular this past week than he was the prior week or two.
His all approach and then respect, especially in that area of the world. If you don't appreciate that as a wrestling fan, and you keep on thinking one mentality in terms of AEW and like what side you're on, it's foolish. You look at that. That's a good moment for professional wrestling there. He handled it well.
I think the show has been great overall. In terms of it's been competent. There hasn't been a lot of spots like, oh, that was really bad, because all the other 3 shows have points where you're like, that's garbage, dude.
Yeah.
I'm talking about things that people have a consensus, which is pretty bad. NXT, which is mostly bad. goofy stuff. But but WWE, they have some stuff that's not great often these days. And in Dynamite, there's always one or two segments that you're like, Jesus, what are you doing?
Yeah.